My dear Satirial, I note with great displeasure that your patient is quite resolute in her beliefs, that all of your attempts in so far have been countered by her own willpower, strengthened by the meddling of the enemy. You have been assigned to her for 17 years now, and still you procure absolutely no results. Your lack of experience in the arts of temptation and the enemy himself result in you failing to make even the slightest breach in this heavily fortified citadel of the patients, known commonly as faith. I am inclined to consider that the latter of the two, your inexperience, is the primary factor influencing your failure. And thus I have been assigned by our Father below us to guide you. An unholy conversion of a devout Christian is especially desirable to him, for it symbolizes the faltering of Christianity and serves to avert others from pursuing the enemy. Now, on to the task at hand. Firstly, I sanction you in the name of Lucifer to tear yourself from the spiritual realm. Going forth into the mortal world in physical form will allow you to destroy the patient's faith from without. I fear that we cannot successfully attack and destroy her from the inside. She has grown up in a Christian home with good parents, an excellent church background, and worst of all, she has been home-schooled. She is a narrow, albeit faithful Christian, resilient in her faith and closed off to the internal drives and desires with which our kind have subjugated nearly all of humanity. However, I believe the strength of her faith, her narrow perspective, can be used against her. She is going to school for the first time in her life. At this juncture in her life, we have our chance to corrupt her soul. For you see, the Christian that lacks inoculation may inspire him or herself internally while isolated, but when these unvaccinated creatures enter the real world, they are subject to an onslaught of sin, to vile diseases that their souls cannot resist. Now, while in human form, you must befriend her and tempt her with these worldly diseases. I have informed your comrades to keep her classmates and any others away from her, to be unwelcoming and apathetic, as is normal when people have settled into routine. For though she may hold an obdurate faith internally, she can be easily influenced externally. A young mortal, all alone and unable to fit in, is more likely to be influenced by those who show compassion and establish relations with it. Humans were made for community and relationships by their Creator, and we can use this against the Creator himself. I have studied the enemy's work, and one of the verses, 1 Corinthians 15:33, spoke to me that bad company ruins good morals. I promise you that we shall not fail. Batter her with external temptation, and it will result in the successive demise of her faith. Your master, Azazel. My dear Satirial, the tactics you have employed are working well. We have succeeded in planting the seeds of corruption in the patient. I told you, these Christians who are ignorant of the world around them are the ones that are easily swayed. The patient is gladdened by the fact that she has satisfied her need for affiliation through you. The enemy's own gift has been turned into a weapon against him. We have been at work in this Christian school for quite a while, and so the patient's coming and her ignorance will allow her to further succumb to temptations that you offer her. The routine and the apathy that the students at this school have settled into allows us to bar discussions of faith and the forming of friendships if we so desire. This serves our cause further, because this being a Christian school with Christian students who ostracize other Christians allows doubt to form in the patient's mind and has led her to turn to you. As one of my colleagues, Screwtape, once said, the troughs of life are the times when humans are most susceptible to temptation. The trough is very deep at this moment. She wants to reach the peak, according to the law of undulation. So give her this peak in illusory form. Drugs and alcohol are an excellent way to destroy faith. For once a patient becomes addicted, that addiction must be satisfied at all costs. Drink and drugs are a form of idolatry and will draw her away from the enemy. There is a matter of concern that I would like to express. The patient seems to have made a second friend, and I do not like it. This is far too suspicious. I believe that the enemy has unleashed a counterattack. This new friend of the patient's is most likely an agent of the enemy. Get rid of her. Keeping the patient to yourself, guard her like a jealous friend. The patient must be kept in bad company to ruin good morals. The people around one play a fundamental role in faith and temptation. Never forget this. Continue your work. Azazel. My dear Satariel, I must congratulate you on our success. We have transformed the patient into a monstrosity. The adolescent years are indeed the prime time to bog down mortals by temptation. Your patient is mired in sin, simply filthy. Friendship works wonders. You have delivered her to us. She is a drunkard and a druggie. This is good, for she cannot maintain a focus on her God. Idolatry and indulgence have always proven to triumph over Christian self-negligence and pursuit of the unseen. Ever since she has strayed from the path with the help of those around her, you in particular, she no longer worships, she no longer prays, and she is quite disillusioned by Christianity. In fact, she's become quite rebellious against her God. I would very much like to draw this out, for she serves to embody the futility and the ridicule Christianity suffers. However, while I do believe that adolescence is the prime time to tempt, it is also the optimum time to reap a human soul. For this is when humanity is at a weak point. Screwtape postulated that drawing out a human life gives our kind greater chances to tempt. But it also gives the enemy time to save. Time is certainly what we do not need at this point. The patient's other friend, your counterpart, is desperately trying to save her. Although I enjoy the sadistic torment you are putting the patient through while wearing the mask of friendship, I believe it is time we give the patient the opportunity to rest. Depression is the perfect time to facilitate one of the greatest sins a human being can commit. Suicide, in itself, is one of the most seducing temptations. It is an end to suffering. It is a rejection of the enemy's gift of physical life, a failure of stewardship, an act of despair, and a transgression of the sixth commandment. You know what to do. We await both you and the patient in hell. Azazel.